Hi, I'd like to take the opportunity to just spend a couple of slides talking about ARTnet future opportunities with a point of view of SPECT imaging, heading towards an imaging biorepository, and then talking about ARTnet activities nationally and internationally. So in terms of quantitative SPECT in clinical trials, theranostic clinical trials incorporate post-therapy imaging to confirm delivery of radiopharmaceutical to target. So, such as in our PSMA clinical trials with lutetium PSMA, whole body and SPECT CT lutetium therapy, imaging is performed at 24 hours. An upcoming study called the Evolution Study, which involves lutetium-177 PSMA therapy, aims to incorporate quantitative SPECT of the lutetium PSMA to explore imaging-based predictive outcomes in a multi-centre trial setting. And as part of this, Harry Mackie, a physicist, undertook a short project to try and look at how this could be undertaken in terms of the evolution study, and he worked with Louise Emmett and others on this project. So Harry contacted all sites participating in the study to determine which SPECT cameras were being used, what the specifications were, and any standard imaging protocols. And this was put together in the development of a standardised image acquisition protocol as part of the nuclear medicine manual for the study. And ARTnet has also had input into this. Many thanks particularly to Kathy and George, who have been very involved in that. So for the evolution study, phantom evaluation will be undertaken of all SPECT cameras to assess performance and to work towards developing comparable quantitative data across sites. So this can be used to explore those potential quantitative biomarkers. Similarly, with the iFirst study, I131 SPECT imaging will be undertaken to quantitate dose delivered to tumour post-therapy in a multi-centre trial setting, and the image acquisition protocols and components of imaging are well documented in the I124 SPECT and I131 SPECT CT site validation manual. And many thanks to Dale and Andrew Scott in particular for their work on that. And ARTnet has been working with them as well. So as part of this study, phantom evaluation will be undertaken of all gamma cameras to validate SPECT CT systems for participation in the iFirst trial, and ARTnet will perform that. And this will be to develop quantitative SPECT data which is comparable across sites for this study, and also to perform a centralised dosimetry on the quantitative SPECT data. So these projects, in fact, sound quite simple to talk about, but in fact they have a number of challenges. There's quite high variability in gamma camera systems across Australia with different vendors. Some are quantitative and some are non-quantitative systems, and there are a lot of variation in site-specific imaging protocols. Also, there are challenges if you're trying to validate cameras across sites using a phantom because these are long half-life isotopes, which is really problematic with decay and the NEMA phantom, particularly when you're trying to transport it between sites and it takes multiple half-lives to decay, and also disposal of activity post-phantom study. So I would say these projects that are being undertaken for these studies are ambitious. Because I think they really, as far as I know, are not commonly undertaken anywhere else, and this may be the first time trying to do this across, in fact, the whole nation. However, I think it provides us the opportunity to gather valuable data to understand and optimise radionuclide therapy, and this really is something incredibly important as we move more and more towards theranostics. So ambitious, but incredibly valuable projects, and ARTNet's really pleased to be supporting these. ARTNet's also been involved in setting up imaging repository for clinical trials. So clinical trials involving imaging require upload of imaging data or DICOM data to a centralised data repository, and having an Australian capability for this would be really advantageous to have a local, robust and reliable process for data upload, which incorporates anonymisation as part of the upload process. It has a capability for centralised data review, aiming to reduce duplication at sites and simplify process. So we really have this vision where it would be great if for each trial you use the same upload process instead of, at the moment, every trial has a different process depending on who's managing that data. We're also looking for solutions that would be cost-effective, so it can align with investigator-initiated and grant-funded clinical trials, which are often not well-funded. So ARTnet is developing this capability in a collaborative project, and we'll be looking to deploy this in upcoming trials. So there's activities which ARTnet are continuing to explore, which we feel are important for capability in Australia. And these are partnerships nationally and internationally to promote, support and facilitate research with radiopharmaceuticals for imaging or therapy, with the aim of enhancing quality of clinical trials with radiopharmaceutical in Australia, partnering with investigators to try and identify and seek grant funding opportunities so that these grants can be undertaken. We're collaborating with clinical trials groups and organisations to strengthen research capability in Australia, and an example of that is the Imaging Biorepository project, for which a very large grant went in. We're waiting for the results of, but this was in partnership with NIF, TROG and all the cancer cooperative trials groups, and with ACI, which is headed by Professor Martin Ebert. So we're trying to build capability to promote clinical trials and make them high quality. We continue to promote research in Australia, and as Australia is a place to be to conduct this research, and we are always exploring opportunities for international studies, identifying barriers to this and seeking solutions, and these are important parts of the ARTnet activities. So ARTnet aims to support our nuclear medicine community through growing expertise locally in clinical trials and with novel radiopharmaceuticals, and expanding that capability across Australia. We're keen to standardise as much as possible clinical trial activities to simplify processes for sites, such as the camera credentialing, imaging manuals and imaging data upload processes, just making it as easy as possible for sites to be able to participate in trials. We're always looking to enhance clinical trial involvement and opportunity for nuclear medicine sites. We're keen to be part of generating evidence to support clinical implementation and funding of radiopharmaceuticals. And as part of all this is representation and engagement with our nuclear medicine community. So I'd like to open up to everyone for any questions or comments that people may have. Thank you.